well-researched motion. Mr. Speaker, so this motion could not have come at a better time than now. The print and electronic media has been awash with, of course, the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari's declaration and his pain and his concern about the rate of illegal migration out of this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a time in the lives of Africa that we must start to have a proper conversation about migration. Mr. Speaker, the world has gone beyond a world without borders. It has gone beyond a world where stronger, more affluent nations are saying to us, give us your weak, give us your poor, and come let us build the world together. Mr. Speaker, the last round of elections in the EU as well as in the United States, migration and illegal immigration took a central place in those elections. And we see that there's a growing trend where people who are more isolationist and people who look to their countries are people, and people who are considered to be leftist are people who are winning elections because, of course, so much is happening in the world, fewer resources, and a lot of people just are not willing to open up their doors to people who they consider are coming to bear unnecessary weight on their country's resources. Mr. Speaker, with your imprimatur, let me quote Theresa May, where she says, the British Prime Minister, where she says, we will create here in the UK a very hostile environment for illegal immigrants. Mr. Speaker, and that is the thought process that runs through all of Europe, and of course Brexit. It culminated in Brexit, where it was Britain for the British, as well as America for the Americans in the last elections in the UK. Mr. Speaker, for me, it is very, very important that he brings it up at this time, because the rest of the world, and just to put it in perspective, the EU countries are spending so much more money trying to keep Africans within Africa. Only this year, they voted 1.8 billion to keeping Africans within Africa. $8 billion was voted to keep people who are migrants, would-be migrants in countries from Nigeria, from Niger, from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, and of course, like he said, the asylees, who are the people who would be seeking asylum from Syria, and so on and so forth. I know that a lot of initiatives have been taken, but the truth of the matter, Mr. Speaker, is that people always say that the reason why our young people are leaving the shores of this country is because our domestic policies are not such that create an enabling environment for them to thrive. And without taking away anything from people that would seek a better life, Mr. Speaker, the perils in this place is just so much. The perils on the journey is just so much that nobody should be subjected to it. There's so many harrowing tales about people who go do the route through the desert, having to drink each other's urine to stay alive. Mr. Speaker, boats are capsizing on the Mediterranean. We have a migrant crisis. And yet, like they say, that if we put as much initiative into staying in Nigeria and building a Nigeria than they put into doing this trip, Mr. Speaker, I believe that we will, all of us, come together and grow our country. Mr. Speaker, let me say that I want, of course, in rounding up, I just want us to have a simple, pragmatic solution that even though the numbers are there, that I think that a better way for us to tell is for the people who have experienced these things to actually come out and tell their own stories. Because yes, we have the cold numbers, we have the cold figures. But Mr. Speaker, so when you hear the experiences of these people, then you know that indeed it will deter the people. I know that the Immigration Service is actually putting a sheet of paper in passports of young Nigerians to say to them the perils of that. So I know the government is doing something, but I think that we need more enlightenment so that the young people in Nigeria will realize that those trips are death traps and that Europe and the rest of the world is shutting their doors to other people, to other nationals. I so submit.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleague, Leo Kuwe Ogo, representing the Isoko Federal